Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. I'm kalikaiz and this is Decks of the Week. We're going to go into what happened in the Magic Online leagues and what was performing, what is the sweetest spice that you can have picked out from the leagues from the past week. This is the week of January 5th to January 11th. Before we get into it, make sure that you check out cardmarket.com, largest seller of Magic the Gathering cards in Europe, if you do want to pick up some of these cards for your decks. Or you could pick it up somewhere else, I guess, if you're in the United States. Make sure to check out the inaugural Upstate New York Pauper Open. It's a cash prize event that's happening on March 1st in Rochester, New York. There's 51 spots remaining at this time, so hop on in. I want to see you there. I'll be there. This is happening right here in Walworth, New York, just outside of Rochester, New York. So an easy drive if you're in pretty much all of this area. So hopefully you will come on down. Make sure to check out the Patreon, kalikaiz, if you want to get sideboard guides, get early access to videos on YouTube, hit me with a like and subscribe, all that stuff. Okay, that's out of the way. So what's been going on in the Magic Online leagues? Well, first of all, last week at the end of the week, there was some really, really terrible lag, which ended up putting only 104 trophies, and 25% of the trophies that were posted were mono red. That kind of makes sense. People basically couldn't click. You had to choose a deck that had very, very few actions. The rest of the format, moving on down from the trophies, was Affinity, Jund Glee, Jund Wildfire, Orzhov Blade, Black Green Glee. So the surprising thing to me here was Orzhov Blade getting 6 trophies, actually 3 in one day. And I think 3 of the trophies were all from just one pilot, so I guess they cracked it. We also saw a decent amount of Boros Synth at 3 trophies, and we have, let's see, quite a few, 11 one-ofs, which is pretty awesome to see. A couple things, like if we count the decks that are just 2-ofs, it gets 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 total decks that are like not well represented, but able to actually perform. Some of the best ones that I was excited about were Familiars and Poison Storm, of course. We also had some really spicy ones in there, so I'll go through those in just a second. If you move down to the combined metagame, the only thing that got combined here was Jund Glee. So we see Mono Red, Jund Glee, Affinity, Blade here. Not a lot of Terror this week. Not sure if people are just not performing with Terror, but there was a pretty cool Terror control deck that I'll get into. So we also didn't have any challenge data this weekend. Friday, it was the Lag Fest, so it was almost entirely mono red, and Saturday was canceled. Sunday did happen, but it sort of was canceled and then uncanceled, so Kirby didn't get in to see it. But let's check out some of these sweet decks. So firstly, we're not going to go in any particular order, so hopefully we don't have the craziest thing happening first. But this mono black sacrifice aggro happened from Cryomancer. Pretty cool to see. Let's zoom in a bit. Too much. So essentially they're using Carrion Feeder as their like main sacrifice outlet. So this is pretty classic. Carrion Feeder, Mortician Beetle. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, it gets bigger. They've got the Freebooter and Shambling Ghast to push in. They're playing Gixian Infiltrator, which is awesome because it's kind of like an ATOG in this deck. So it grows just like the Mortician Beetle. It also grows off of sacrificing any treasures or anything like that. They have Dark Ritual, then Village Rites, Deadly Dispute, Eviscerator's Insight, and Reaping the Graves to get all their creatures back. Some snuff outs in the main deck. It's kind of sweet. Let's see. So we'll go into the Walls Cascade. I was happy to see a Walls Cascade get in. This is sort of like we're just going to combo and slam stuff on the table. It works by making a bunch of mana with your Overgrown Battlements, Axebane Guardians, etc. You go get everything haste with Tuk Tuk Rebel Fort, and then you just jam in with your Avenging Hunter, Boarding Party, Generous, and Annoyed Allosaur. This is something that I'm actually interested in checking out, maybe giving a try. Let's see. So we have Boros Synthesizer from Lindosa 01. You can see that there was quite a decent amount of trophies, so maybe Boros Synth is on the upswing. Don't really know if that's the case. They're playing Krark-Clan Shaman in the main deck, and otherwise it looks very, very normal. So I guess just with Cast into Fire, Dust to Dust, bunch of Red Blasts, like Trickery, they're just prepared, I guess, for the metagame. I'm happy to see Boros Synth actually putting up numbers when the PFP video came out, there was basically no Borosynth trophies. So maybe their win rate's going up a little bit. Let's see. We have a, let's see. We're going to go and try to organize by spice. So maybe here. This is Turbo Fog from Ritual Sinkhole. So remember, Ritual Sinkhole was basically the premier Turbo Fog player of Magic Online. They're the one that sets the standard for what Turbo Fog is. And they decided that gates were no longer necessary. So this version of the deck is playing kind of like a Gardens deck. Your Fog in the main, your Gardens at the sideboard with Cast Down, Crypt Rats, Snuff Out, all that good stuff, and Defile. Just a full transition sideboard. The main deck, you're just planning on fogging like crazy. And then what I was told is the win condition is decking. You have 4 Campfire in the main deck, and you're hoping to give your opponent the Monarch with Thorn of the Black Rose and just let them die. Which is, that's sadistic to say the least. I don't think I could survive actually doing that for a league. Here's a pretty sweet deck. This is a Naya Gates, the same Gates shell as the white-green Gates. They're playing 4 Clockwork Percussionist, which I think is kind of interesting. Another like small creature to get in with your Basilisk Gate Pump. It is a value creature as well, and they're splashing for the Writhing Chrysalis. Armadillo Cloak in the main deck, which is in order to get some amount of life gain, I guess. And 3 Guardian of the Guild Pact. What's cool with the Cloak Guardian is you can actually put the Cloak on the Guardian because the Guardian has protection from monocolored. And then you have basically an unblockable creature that just has lifelink, which is sweet. Although it doesn't, it can get blocked by Writhing Chrysalis, so that's kind of a thing to watch out for if you're playing that deck. So we have a couple of decks here. I think I'm going to start with the Hype deck. So this is Hype 12232. They're the person that played the Gorehound version of Black Green Klee. And instead of playing the Jund Wildfire deck, they're playing Jund Affinity. So 4 Refurb, 4 Chrysalis, 4 Enforcer. And the rest of it is just kind of the Jundy stuff. Galvanic Blast, Toxin Analysis, Cast Down. A lot of draw with 8 draw spells. One of which being the Visitor's Insight. 3 Blood Fountain, 2 Spellbomb. It is very much a control deck, but it's like a mid-range control deck. And it is neat to see that Mere Enforcer, being a 0-mana spell, is still good. I know Walker735 said that Chrysalis is the better Enforcer and that you should play Jund. So speaking of Chrysalis, here is a Teamer Terror Control. This is just one of the coolest decks, if you like control anyway. 4 Chrysalis, 4 Terror, and 3 Murmuring Mystic. So we're not playing any number of Monarch effects. You've got Galvanic Discharge, okay, and Cast into the Fire main deck, okay. Yeah. Attune with Aether, search library for a basic land, put it in your hand and get energy. So Attune works with Discharge, that makes sense. They've got 4 Brainstorm, 2 Bushwhack, so this is either a removal spell or get your one-off, like Mountain or Island or Forest. 4 Malevolent Rumble, that powers up the Terror, okay. Also puts Deep Analysis in the graveyard. I like that a lot. The 4 Brainstorm, 2 Ponder. What is Aether Spike? Choose target spell. Okay, so this is like a mana leak that gives you energy. So they're really powering up their Galvanic Discharge here. And they are playing this only 1 blue pip counterspell because they have so many different colored sources that I guess blue counterspell is just not good enough. Or maybe Aether Spike is really good in this deck. Like if you can make it a 4 spike and get excess energy, that sounds awesome. The rest of the deck is pretty sweet. So let's move on to the last 2. Okay, I'm going to save the spiciest for last. So this, I think, is spicy, even though it's not that crazy. But essentially what I saw was Countertop Garchomp. I think their name on Twitter is Kaija. I could be wrong. But they are playing something they're calling Jund Horizons. So this is Jund Broodscale. But essentially, it's just play all the Modern Horizons cards. You got the Bridges, you got the Refurbished, you got the Chrysalis, you got the Broodscale, Cleansing Wildfire, working with the Bridges. Oh man, Investor's Insight, the whole thing just goes off. This is another thing I want to try. Essentially, this deck is a mid-range Jund Wildfire deck that can Oops I combo. So if you're interested in having like a grindier version, it's potentially better than playing just the regular black or Jund version, because you actually have Refurbished Familiar in the deck and you can just go through people pretty easily. And the spiciest deck of the week. Get ready, because it's Tron, and not just any Tron. It is Big Guy Tron. I love it. 4 Genocide, 4 Boulder Branch Golem, 4 Ruin Processor, something that barely ever is seen. Says when you cast it, you can put a card an opponent owns from exile into their graveyard. If you do, gain 5 life. Don't see any ways. Oh, so, and we have Relic of Regenitus, which puts things into exile. That is some combo right there. 3 Karavix Torch to close the game. And they're playing 4 Star, 4 Sphere, 4 Map, 4 Stirrings, 4 Harvest. So essentially, they are only playing 13 lands and 12 1-drops, and this deck is sweet. I love it. 4 Weatherstorm, it's just gonna put stuff on the table, gonna attack you. They have the 1 of Flaring Pain. Vines of Vastwood can work against the Glee decks. You have Sandstorm, Arms of Adar versus and Weatherstorm versus red. So awesome. So hopefully you are inspired a little bit. I know that people were enjoying these videos before. I was a little bit down on checking out the metagame, but all this spice has really rejuvenated my love for Pauper. It's awesome to see people really diving deep into the details and trying to get something sweet going. So hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next video.